First of all, Charlie, thanks for some of your time. Really appreciate you jumping on with us and hopefully giving us a little more insight as to the events of the last few days. We talked a lot about this story yesterday. We talked some about it earlier today as well. Kind of walk us through from your perspective, going back to when you guys arrived in Baton Rouge to ultimately getting the news yesterday that no golf shots were going to be hit.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate your support to let this story get out. I mean, I think it's really important for our student athletes to be supported in a really tough, troubling time, to make sure that that the story's out so they can receive the proper support that they deserve. Because this week has been really, really challenging. On Friday and Saturday, there was a really clear understanding of what the forecast looked like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But to be honest, we play golf in the Southeast in the springtime every year, and the forecast looks like that for a majority of golf tournaments. So it's nothing that we worried about or we're concerned about. It's just something that we're used to, look forward to how we're going to manage the situations. And, it just makes the golf tournament less it makes the conditions more challenging, and there's kind of more that you have to deal with, but it's part of the competition, what makes it really interesting and really fun. So nothing that we gave a ton of attention to, but as we got to a little bit closer to Monday, I started to grow a little bit more concerned about how much golf we were going to actually get to play, because the forecast did look pretty bad. I know that there were suggestions about hope of being able to play some golf on Sunday because the weather was really good. Can make a modification to the practice round, and of course that was something that was not taken advantage of. And so as we got into Monday, and the rain started coming down, and then it cleared up in the early afternoon. The golf tournament was called at noon for the day. And really that afternoon, the frustration really just kind of grew through the afternoon because it was an 85-degree day. It was sunshine. It really turned into a beautiful afternoon. But everybody ended up being at Topgolf instead of at the University Club, which is where we were supposed to compete. And from our understanding, from what we were told, the golf course was under too much water to be played. Which really just kind of grew the frustration and grew the confusion just because of how nice of a day it turned out to be, and the conditions that we've played in before in qualifying or in golf tournaments. There was just not a lot of understanding of why we couldn't play that afternoon.
So, Charlie, ultimately the announcement is made that no golf is going to be played. If I understand correctly, you would have had to have gotten a full 18 holes in for all the teams for you to take basically a set of winners or a top six and advance them. And so by rule, the top six seeds in the Baton Rouge Regional advanced. I want to ask you specifically about the quote. We've seen the video from the tournament director on the stairs where he said, even though the course is playable, it's not playable at a championship level. Try and help me understand what he meant by that and whether or not you agree with the statement.
Well, part of me wants to ask you what that means, because I don't think anybody really fully understands what the difference in playable is and playable at a championship level, because from experience in junior golf, collegiate golf, in my viewing of LPGA Tour, PGA Tour, major championships, a playable golf course is always taken advantage of from my experience. And that's something that we've always been grown accustomed to, is that we're more likely to play in unfavorable circumstances and unfavorable weather conditions than perfect weather conditions or golf course conditions. And if the greens happen to be in poor condition, then find a way to make putts anyway. So that's quite honestly, that's where obviously there's a lot of reason to be frustrated about this week, but for us to hear that the golf course was playable just really took things to another level, emotionally and with our frustrations, because we just can't understand why it seems to be more fair to not play competition than to play on a less than ideal golf course, because everybody was there to play golf. And that's what the intention was to do, was to play golf to determine a championship. And I'll say this: I am not one that's going to say that determining a championship by 18 holes is ideal or the perfect situation. It's not a lot of golf, and a lot can happen in just 18 holes. So yesterday was a lose-lose situation, and playing 18 holes now. 18 holes is part of the manual. It's a acceptable championship that the NCAA had approved of. So going by the rule, it's something that should have been really made a strong attempt to have played. But I still, to me, the frustration goes back a little bit more to the beginning of the week, where it could have been better preparation to maybe get some golf in on Sunday, and then you're only looking to get in 18 or 36 holes over the course of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get to a 36 or 54-hole championship.
Charlie Ewing is the women's golf coach at Mississippi State. So I was reading Beth Ann Nichols' story at Golf Week, and there were some quotes in there from some of the other coaches from Tulsa, from Miami, and they talked about maintenance staff being kind of invisible. There were no pumps on the golf course. It doesn't sound like there was much of an effort to really get this in. And I compared this earlier today, and I don't know that, I mean, it's apples and oranges, but we watch grounds crews at baseball stadiums in the SEC work their rear ends off to get fields in condition after downpours, where you're playing an hour later. Was the staff not in place to really work to get this in?
So it's hard for me to comment on that because I didn't.
That's fair.
I didn't go out and walk the entire golf course myself. So everything that I would say about that would just be what I've heard from other people. What I can tell you is that there was a point in the week where some coaches had brought up to the committee, we walk the golf course, we don't see any staff working out there. And then the committee responded with, we were just out there and we saw staff out there working. So everything that I know is just stuff that I heard. And so I don't know.
I know you are, but what am I? I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I can't say myself what was going on out there. I've heard both sides of the story about whether or not the maintenance crew was out there, and of course, social media it's blown up about whether or not the maintenance crew was out there. But I really can't say for myself, not having walked the golf course in its entirety.
All right, I got to ask you about this. So I think most everybody knows what Barstool Sports is right now. And there's this thing that's floating around where the guys at Barstool are trying to put together an event, a 2-day event, it sounds like, in Arizona, and they're inviting all 11 women's golf teams that didn't get to participate. Are you aware of this? Is this something that could actually happen?
So that's a great question. I am aware of it, and I have tried to gather as much information as I possibly can. What I don't know is this is what I do know about Barstool Sports, is that Barstool Sports is it's a very committed organization who comes up with ideas and goes through with ideas. So yeah. I know if there is a possibility of something happening, Barstool Sports, they don't take no for an answer, and to me, I'm under the impression their intentions are always very, very good and very strong. They have come out very
sometimes more than others, in fairness.
Right. So they have been extremely supportive of women's golf over the last 24, 28 hours or so, and just the fact that they're so persistent on wanting to make something like this happen. Of course, is it going to allow one of these 12 teams or the 6 individuals the opportunity to play in the national championship? It's not, but their effort is going to be that these young women earned an opportunity to play a championship golf tournament that was taken from them, and they want to provide them some sort of championship experience. They want to give those seniors that last walk up the 18th fairway that they didn't get to have with their coach, or to see their team around the 18th green, or to watch their teammates come up to the 18th green. They want to give them that last experience, and in a competitive setting, to carry your college bag on your back. So the reality of whether that can come together, I'm extremely hopeful that it's something that can happen, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that are fighting really hard for that to happen. So right now I stay very hopeful of it because I think they're doing a really good thing by showing support to people that had something. These young women that had something taken from them yesterday, and I'm really thankful for them to just even come up with the idea, but to persist and follow through or hope to follow through as strongly as they are is really cool to see.
Charlie, really appreciate your time for shedding some light on this. We'll continue to keep an eye on this story. Congratulations on a great run in the SEC tournament a couple of weeks back, and we wish you all the best. Hope we can talk again soon.
Thank you very much. I'd love to come back on, but I appreciate it.
That's Charlie Ewing, Mississippi State women's golf coach. Sports Talk Mississippi.